English out loud.
Imagine you wake up, your throat is on fire, you have a 101-degree fever, and you need to call a doctor. In English. Right now. Do you know what to say?
Yeah, that is honestly one of the most stressful situations you can find yourself in.
Completely. I mean, being sick is bad enough.
Exactly. Your brain is already, exhausted just trying to deal with the physical pain.
Oh, absolutely. I remember having the flu while traveling once, and I couldn't even remember basic words. It's terrifying.
Right, because in medical situations, being understood isn't just about sounding fluent. It's a literal matter of health and safety.
The stakes are incredibly high. So today, we're taking a deep dive into a really specific, really vital linguistic survival guide.
Yes. Our source material today is a curriculum that's designed to teach non-native English speakers how to navigate the very specific, highly stressful world of medical situations.
Because, as you'll see, the vocabulary changes entirely depending on where you are.
Exactly. How you talk to a doctor in a clinic is totally different from how you talk to a pharmacist, which is, again, totally different from what you say to your boss.
Right. So whether you're a language learner trying to, build confidence for these moments, or you're just fascinated by how specific jargon works, our goal today is to give you that confidence.
We want to give you the blueprint, basically, from waking up sick to finally recovering on your couch.
So let's start with the first, and honestly maybe the hardest step, which is describing your symptoms.
Yeah, because human instinct, especially when you feel terrible, is just to say, I feel bad, or, I'm sick.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because telling a doctor I feel bad is essentially like taking your car to a mechanic, handing them the keys, and just saying, it makes a noise.
Right, the mechanic can't do anything with that.
You have to point them to the engine,
Exactly. Doctors use a similar process, but their diagnostic tool isn't a wrench. It's your language.
Yeah.
They need the specific anatomy of your symptom.
So let's look at the head and respiratory stuff first. The sources put a huge emphasis on the difference between a stuffy nose and a runny nose.
Yeah, and this is crucial.
I have to push back slightly here, though. Isn't that just splitting hairs? If I'm miserable in a doctor's office, my nose is broken either way. Does the doctor really care which word I use?
They absolutely do,
Yeah.
because those two words point to completely different medical issues.
Wait, really? I thought it was all just a cold.
Well, no. A stuffy nose actually means the blood vessels inside your nose are inflamed and swollen. It's a vascular issue.
Oh, wow. So it's not actually filled with, mucus.
Not necessarily. You can't breathe because the actual tissue is physically expanding and blocking the airway.
So the pathway itself is shrinking.
Exactly. So the doctor knows you need a decongestant, which shrinks those blood vessels. But a runny nose is totally different.
Okay, what's a runny nose doing then?
A runny nose means your immune system is actively producing excess fluid to flush out an irritant. That's when you're blowing your nose into tissues all day long.
Okay, so the mechanic needs to know if the pipe is swollen shut or if the pipe is leaking.
That is a perfect way to look at it. If it's leaking, you need an antihistamine, not a decongestant. So that one word completely changes your treatment.
That makes so much sense. What about the rest of the head?
Well, you wouldn't just say your head hurts. You might say you have a pounding headache, which means it throbs with your pulse.
Right. And you'd specify your fever, like, I have a 101-degree fever. Let's take that phrase slowly for a second. A 101 fever.
Yes, exactly. In Fahrenheit, obviously. And for a sore throat, the best phrase is functional. You say, it hurts to swallow.
It hurts to swallow. You're giving them the exact action that causes the pain.
Right. And then when we move to the chest, you have to describe what your body is doing, like with a cough.
Right, a dry cough versus coughing up mucus.
Yes. A dry cough is usually just an irritation. But coughing up mucus, which doctors call a productive cough, that tells a whole different story.
I've always laughed at that term. Productive. It makes it sound like my lungs are doing great work at the office.
Well, biologically they are. They're using that mucus to trap bacteria and expel it. It tells the doctor there's a deeper infection.
What about breathing? You don't just say, I can't breathe.
No, you want to give it context. You say, I feel short of breath when I walk upstairs, or my chest feels tight.
That gives them a real-world measurement of how bad it is.
Exactly. Now, moving down to the stomach, this is where people get really vague. They just say, I have a stomachache.
Because it's embarrassing to talk about.
It is, but you have to be specific. Cramping means your intestines are literally having spasms. But nauseous is different.
How so? People say they're nauseous all the time when their stomach just hurts.
I know, but clinically, nausea is a very specific signal from your brain. It means you feel like you are going to vomit.
Oh, so it's the urge to throw up, not just general pain.
Right. And speaking of things people don't want to talk about, the sources are super clear in this next one. You cannot be shy about the word diarrhea.
Oh man, yeah. People will use every polite phrase in the book to avoid saying that word in English.
They really will. But modesty here is dangerous. Diarrhea is a major indicator for, bacterial infections or severe dehydration.
So no polite euphemisms, just say the word.
Exactly. And finally, for general symptoms, you might say you feel run down, which just means tired and low energy, or that you have no appetite.
Or body aches, right, when your muscles just hurt all over.
Yeah. And then there's chills.
Chills are so weird to me because you feel freezing, but your forehead is actually burning hot.
It's actually fascinating. Your immune system tricked your brain into resetting your body's thermostat to a higher temperature.
Wow.
Yeah. So even if the room is warm, your brain thinks you're freezing, so it forces your muscles to shiver violently to generate heat and reach that new fever temperature.
That is wild. Your body is literally tricking itself into cooking the virus.
It really is.
So, okay, you've figured out your symptoms. You know your nose is stuffy, your cough is productive, you have chills. Now you have to actually go to the clinic.
Which is a whole new linguistic environment, starting with the receptionist.
The receptionists are basically the air traffic controllers of the clinic.
They are. And before we even get into their questions, we should touch on a big cultural note here regarding where you actually go.
Oh, right, like urgent care versus the emergency room.
Exactly. In the U.S., for example, the emergency room, or ER, is for life-threatening issues. But for these everyday illnesses we're talking about, you usually go to an urgent care clinic.
Right, urgent care is for things that need attention now but won't kill you. Okay, so you walk in. What does the receptionist say?
First, they'll ask, do you have an appointment, or is this a walk-in?
A walk-in meaning you just showed up without scheduling it.
Right. Then they need your insurance card. And if you don't have insurance, or it's not covered, you need to know the phrase, out of pocket.
Out of pocket,
Yeah.
which means you are paying with your own money directly.
Yes. It's a vital financial phrase. Then eventually, the medical professional will take you back and ask, what brings you in today?
I've always hated that phrase. What brings you in today? It sounds like they're asking why I stopped by a coffee shop.
I know it sounds super casual, but it's a calculated question. They want to see which symptom you mentioned first. Then they start the interrogation.
Right, like how long have you had these symptoms?
Yep. You need a timeline, like since Monday. They'll also ask, had you taken anything for it? Like Tylenol, which might be hiding your fever.
And any allergies to medication? That's a big one.
Huge. Or are you on any daily medications?
Yeah.
They have to make sure nothing interacts.
Okay, but this brings up something that drives me crazy. They always ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is the pain?
Ah, yes. The pain scale.
But pain is entirely subjective. My 7 out of 10 might be your 4 out of 10. How is that actually scientific?
That's a really common point of confusion.
Yeah.
The doctor knows it's subjective.
Yeah.
They aren't comparing you to me. They're establishing a baseline for you. Yeah. So if you say your pain is an 8, they give you treatment, and an hour later you say it's a 5, the actual numbers don't matter. The downward change matters.
They're just tracking the velocity of the pain.
Exactly. It proves the treatment is working.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So then we get to the diagnosis, and the sources point out a huge misunderstanding here regarding viral versus bacterial infections.
Yes. People get genuinely frustrated when the doctor says, it's a viral infection.
Because they think the doctor isn't doing anything.
Right. When it's viral, the doctor will say, get some rest and drink fluids. It'll clear up on its own. Because an antibiotic is completely useless against a virus.
Let's use the mechanic analogy again. Demanding an antibiotic for a viral infection is like using a fire extinguisher on a flooded basement.
Yes.
You're using a tool, you feel like you're doing something, but it's the completely wrong tool for the disaster you actually have.
It's structurally the wrong tool.
Yeah.
Antibiotics destroy bacterial cell walls. Viruses don't even have cell walls. So the antibiotic has literally nothing to attack.
But if it is bacterial, then the doctor will give you a prescription.
Right. A formal written order for medicine, which means you are leaving the clinic and heading to the pharmacy.
Which has its own weird phrases, like you walk up and say, I need to fill a prescription.
Oh, a prescription.
It's such a weird visual. It sounds like you're handing them an empty mug and asking them to fill it with coffee.
It does, but it comes from the old apothecary days when, Pharmacists actually had to compound chemicals and fill a physical glass vial for you.
So let's actually just do a quick mini role play of this pharmacy interaction so people can hear it.
Oh yeah, let's do it. I'll be the pharmacist.
Okay, great. I'll be the sick person. Hi, I need to fill this prescription. How long will it take?
Should be about 15 minutes. Did you want the generic version?
Oh, yes, definitely the generic version.
Perfect.
End scene, short and sweet. But let's pause on that phrase, the generic version.
Yes, that is a lifesaver for your wallet.
A lot of people think generic means lower quality. But it's exactly like buying the store brand cereal at the supermarket, right?
Exactly.
The box is different, there's no fancy marketing, but the cereal inside is literally the exact same stuff.
It's enforced by law. The generic drug has to deliver the exact same amount of active ingredient as the expensive brand name. You're just refusing to pay for their marketing budget.
I love that. So you get your medicine, and then the pharmacist will give you warnings about the dosage.
Right. The dosage is how much and how often. Like take one tablet twice a day with food. And they will heavily emphasize finishing the full course.
Which people never do. You feel better by day 3, so you just stop taking the pills.
Which is incredibly dangerous. If you stop early, you've only killed the weak bacteria. The strong ones survive, multiply, and create a mutated, antibiotic-resistant strain.
Wow. So you have to finish every single pill.
Yes. They'll also warn you about side effects, like this may cause drowsiness, so don't drive, or this causes stomach upset, which is why you take it with food.
And what if you didn't get a prescription? What if it was just viral and you're wandering the pharmacy aisles?
Then you're looking for OTC, medication, over-the-counter, medicine you can buy without a doctor.
You can just ask the pharmacist, what do you recommend for a cold? Or where are the allergy meds?
Exactly.
Okay, so you've navigated the clinic, you've got your OTC or prescription meds, and you're home. But there is one final terrible hurdle.
Calling in sick to work.
Yes. You have to shift into this whole professional etiquette mode.
It's a completely different set of sociological rules. You cannot email your boss the way you text your best friend.
No. The curriculum is very specific here. There's a 3-part structure to a sick message.
Right. 1, say who you are and why you're messaging. 2, give a brief symptom. And 3, give a timeline for when you'll check in again.
Let's talk about phrasing. People always say, I'm under the weather.
Under the weather is a classic idiom. Fun fact, it comes from sailors who felt seasick and would go below deck, literally hiding under the harsh weather.
I love that. But it's pretty casual, right? For a boss, you might want to say, I'm not feeling my best. Or just plainly, I need to take a sick day.
Or the very modern version, I'll be working from home if I feel up to it.
Which is a whole other debate about remote work. But let's talk about the golden rule of the sick email, which the sources emphasize heavily. Keep it brief and absolutely zero gross detail.
Man.
Zero.
I struggle with this because when I call in sick, I feel so guilty.
Okay.
I feel like I'm leaving my team hanging.
Yeah.
So my instinct is to give my boss all the horrible graphic details of my stomach bug so they know I'm not faking it.
Yeah, that urge to overshare is almost always born out of guilt. But you have to remember professional boundaries.
Right.
Your manager does not want to visualize your nausea or your diarrhea. It puts an uncomfortable burden on them.
It's just too much information for an office.
Exactly. Saying I have a fever and a sore throat is plenty. Being brief actually signals competence. It tells your boss, I'm incapacitated, but I'm managing it and I will be back. That's all they need to know. You manage the illness, you don't let it manage your reputation, just keep the mucus out of the email.
Absolutely.
Okay, before we wrap up this incredible deep dive, let's just do a quick vocabulary recap of the really critical terms we covered today.
Good idea.
So, we have symptom, which is the specific physical sign of your illness. We have a prescription, the formal doctor's order for medicine.
And OTC, or over-the-counter, for medicine you buy freely. Dosage, which is how much medicine to take.
Nauseous, which specifically means feeling like you want to vomit. Feeling run down, meaning you're exhausted and lack energy.
Feeling under the weather, the casual idiom for being sick. And finally, the strange phrase, to fill a prescription.
Which means getting your medicine prepared by the pharmacist. Mastering these terms really does take so much of the friction out of being sick.
It removes the panic.
It does. But it leaves me with one final kind of philosophical question for you to ponder.
Oh, all right.
We know that language shapes our reality, right? So how does having to translate our private physical pain into this rigid, specialized clinical language alter our actual experience of being sick? Does the sheer stress of hunting for the English word nauseous or trying to explain the 1 to 10 scale while shivering with a fever. Does that mental friction actually make the physical suffering worse? Is pain sharper when we struggle to express it?
That is the deeply compelling layer to think about the next time you feel a fever coming on.
The invisible link between our vocabulary and our physical bodies. So, as we close out today, we want to hear from you. Which situation do you find the most nerve-wracking? Is it talking to the doctor, dealing with the pharmacy, or calling in sick to work?
Let us know.
Drop a comment. Until next time, stay curious and stay healthy.